Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we finally got the full deck list for the Zeraora and Deoxys V Battle decks, which is lovely. Are they any good? Well, let's have a gander. We're going to start off with the Zeraora deck, just because I think Zeraora is cooler than Deoxys. As always, come at me in the comment section if you disagree. Now, one thing that is very, very important about these decks that does need to be reiterated, for the first time, the V Battle decks don't have an alternate art Pokemon V or an exclusive Pokemon V. These can actually be gotten elsewhere. Basically, what we've got are the battle boxes for both Zeraora and Deoxys that have the VMAX and the V-Star and the Pokemon V, and they are the exact same Pokemon V that we see in these V Battle decks. So this is the first time we've ever seen a V Battle deck where the exact Vs can be gotten elsewhere. You have been warned. Sorry about that. So moving on, obviously you get one copy of the Zeraora, that shouldn't be a surprise. We then have a 4-3-2 line of Luxray. I am personally hoping that this is the Luxray that came around in Brilliant Stars. Single energy, 50 damage for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon, and 110 30 to one of your bench Pokemon. There is a terrible one that came around in Fusion Strike. I'm really hoping this isn't that one, because that one's kind of terrible. Fingers crossed it's a good Luxray. Now, we also have a line of Heliolisk here, a 3-2 line to be precise, and again there are options, but this is almost certainly going to be the Heliolisk from Fusion Strike, because the other one was years ago in Rebel Clash. 2 energy, 60 damage, plus 20 to one of your opponent's bench. It's not an amazing card, but it's not too bad, ladies and gentlemen. It's not too bad. Now, we also have a couple copies of Boltund here. Now, these are all awkward, because all of these are kind of, we've got options, we don't know exactly which one they are. Here, I am assuming, although there are other ones in the Sword and Shield era, I am assuming it's the one that came around in Battle Styles, which is the most recent of them. The others are in Sword and Shield Base, which was a while ago now. This one, free energy. If this Pokemon has any damage counters on, you're actually doing 130 for a single energy, or single energy 30 and stop them retreating. Again, we've only got a list of Pokemon. I can't guarantee these are the right ones, but I'm fairly sure that they are, because these are the ones that make by far the most sense. And then we finish off with a copy of Thunderous here. It has to be the one from Chilling Reign, because this is the only Thunderous we've got right now, is the one from Chilling Reign. Single energy, 30 damage, and you may attach an energy from your hand to one of your bench Pokemon, a lightning energy. And they do tend to do this Pokemon in these V Battle decks, give you a Pokemon that can help you set up, draw cards, attach energy, things of that nature. And we do see that here with Thunderous, so this does make a whole bunch of sense. And then moving over into your trainer cards here, we got ourselves a couple copies of Bugcatcher. That is the one that lets you draw 2 cards, but flip a coin if heads, draw 2 more. Not a phenomenal card, if I'm honest with you. Doesn't see a huge amount of play. We do have a couple copies of Escape Rope, which makes you and your opponent switch their active. That's a really good card, sees a bunch of play. We got ourselves a couple copies of Evolution Incense that lets you search for an evolution Pokemon. Bearing in mind we've got a bunch of evolution lines in this particular deck. We got 4 copies of Great Ball, which is again a card, doesn't see a huge amount of play nowadays, but has seen a bunch in the past. This is one that just lets you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, find a Pokemon, put it into your hand. Decent Pokemon search. We've then got a couple copies of Gym Trainer. Now, this is another one, draw 2 cards, but if a Pokemon was knocked out during your last turn, draw 2 more. And again, this is not a great draw supporter. It doesn't see a huge amount to play. Though it is better than Hop. You get a full play set of Hop, but Hop just lets you draw 3 cards. That is not a good card. We've then got 1 copy of Lady. Lets you get 4 basic energy from your deck and put them into your hand. Actually, a nice combo here with Thunderous here that wants you to attach energy from your hand. It's a decent card, sees a bit of play. Having a copy here is nice. We've then got one potion that will let you heal 30 damage. As far as healing goes, it's honestly not particularly great. We've got 2 copies of Shauna. That is the shove your hand into your deck, draw 5. It's alright. It's not terrible. Sees a little bit of play here and there. We got ourselves a copy of Sonya. That is one that lets you search for 2 basic Pokemon or 2 basic energy. And actually, to be fair, this one does see a little bit of play here and there, which is quite nice. And then 18 lightning energy. It's a V-Battle deck, as we generally tend to see here. Unfortunately, it's not hideously competitive. The Pokemon lines aren't particularly good, and I wouldn't expect them to see much play. Although we do have a couple of cards that do see play here, like Escape Rope and Great Ball and Lady and Sonya. They're fine, but they're not exactly staples in every deck. Now, moving over to the Deoxys deck, we again have 1 copy of Deoxys, which is, it's all right. 30 damage plus 30 more for each energy attached to your opponent's active. It's okay. And then we've got the rest. Now, we do have a stage 2 line like we saw in the other deck. We have a 4-3-2 Gardevoir line. And the only stage 2 Gardevoir we've had in the Sword and Shield era is the one from Chilling Reign. We do have some others, but they're like Vs and VMAXs and Radiant. They don't really count. That is actually quite nice, because during your turn, you can look at the top 2 cards of your deck and attach any number of basic energy to your Pokemon in any way you like. So this is your way of accelerating energy in this deck. Plus 60 damage, and then 30 more for each psychic energy attached to this Pokemon. That's not too shabby. That's an interesting line. We've then got a 3-2 line of Claydol. And this, it's going to be the Claydol. Well, there are actually a few of them here, I'll be honest with you. We do have the one from Brilliant Stars. 90 damage if you got the same number of bench Pokemon as your opponent, 180. Or it could be the one that came around in Battle Styles. That is single colorless energy, attach psychic energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like, until your Pokemon and your opponent's Pokemon have the same total amount of energy. It's not going to be any of the others because they're fighting type. It could actually be either of these 2. I'm kind of hoping it's the one from Battle Styles, but either of these could be kind of interesting. We've then got a 3-2 line of Drifblim here. Now this is, well, it's got to be the one from Astral Radiance, because it's literally the only one in the Sword and Shield era. Single psychic energy, 50 damage, and you get to put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It is fine. And then we've got 1 copy of Cresselia, and this is your kind of token setup Pokemon here. This could be the one from Lost Origin, but I'm willing to bet this is the one from Chilling Reign, because it lets you search your deck for a psychic energy and attach it. If you go second and it's your first turn, you search for 3 instead. And actually, 2 energy, 30 damage. If you got at least 5 energy and play 90 more, yeah, that's not too bad. I'm assuming this is the equivalent of Thunderous here, so I'm 99% sure this is the one from Chilling Reign. As a side note, Pokemon-wise, I like this more than the Zeraora deck, especially if it's a Claydol. I'm hoping it is. Now, in terms of trainer cards, we see a lot of similarities. We've again got 2 copies of Bugcatcher, but here we actually have a copy of Cook. This is the one that lets you heal 70 from your active Pokemon, which ain't too bad. We got a couple copies of Evolution Incense. We got 4 copies of Great Ball, 2 copies of Gym Trainer, 4 copies of Hop, 1 copy of Lucky Ice Pop. Now, this is the one that lets you heal 20 damage, but then you flip a coin, and if heads, it goes back into your hand. So you can essentially do this again. This, I suppose, replaces Potion. A little bit weird. We've then got 2 copies of Shauna, 1 copy of Sonya, and instead of Escape Rope, we've got 2 copies of Switch Cart. Now, Switch Cart is an interesting one here. It's a really good card. Actually sees a bunch of play in the format at the moment. Lets you switch and heal 30, but it only lets you switch your active basic Pokemon. And we are playing a bunch of evolutions, so there will be points in the game where this is, well, to put it politely, absolutely pointless. We then finish off with 18 Psychic Energy. So again, like we see with the Zeraora deck, it's not particularly amazing. What I will say is, if you're new to the game, or you just want a bunch of decks to play against each other, picking up a selection of V-Battle decks and just playing through them is actually pretty gosh darn cool. I kind of like playing around with V-Battle decks. They are kind of fun. But competitive-wise, there's not a huge amount here in terms of competitiveness. I am sorry. Now, in terms of exclusive cards, because remember, if you buy the double pack, you do get some exclusive cards. It's 2 Professor's Research Professor Rowan. They are foil. 2 Boss's Order Cyrus. 2 Friends in Gala. And 2 Ultra Ball. Look, Professor's Research Rowan is good. It's a good card, sees a bunch of play, and it's foil. But it's been foil before, so the foil is not exclusive. Boss's Order Cyrus is a really good card, but we've seen it before. Ultra Ball is a really good card, but we've seen it before. And then we got Friends in Gala, which is terrible. We do have 6 good cards here in terms of Professor's Research, Boss's Orders, and Ultra Ball. But these are staples that the vast majority of people will already have. I suppose if you don't already have them, this is still pretty gosh darn cool. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Those are the decks. They are pretty much what we expect from V-Battle decks, I'll be honest with you. But that doesn't mean they're not interesting, and that doesn't mean they're not cards that we can, like I've said, there's a use for them. It is not, I think it's fair to say, the kind of things you're going to buy and start playing competitively with. But if you just want to play a bunch of games, and you want to have a bunch of different decks, these are pretty gosh darn cool. Just remember that for the first time, the Pokemon V are neither exclusive nor alternate art, and for me, I'm afraid that does make a difference. So there we go. But now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these. Tell me if you're going to be picking these up. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel. You can get some bonus podcasts where I answer all of your questions. You can join a Discord to chat with us, and you can get shout-outs on the podcast, like the lovely AB3. Probably not their real name, who has been a supporter of ours for a long time now, long-time Patreon supporter. Thank you, AB3, for all the support for years at this stage, and thank you for being a very, very lovely person. It is very much appreciated. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.